Hit him with the left, hit him with the right. TD Jakes gonna take him down. Copyright strike. Hello everybody and welcome to my channel. My name is Rogan and this is This Bahamian Gal. On my platform I do social commentary and reaction videos. I encourage my audience to have private conversations in public. So let's get it. Just some quick housekeeping. I will not be using any TD Jakes clips inside of my video. I think many of you already know that lots of content creators are getting copyright strikes for using his clips. I want to see if his legal team is just trying to take down videos that are critical of him or have any commentary about this alleged situation, or if they're really just getting things taken down because they're using their content. So this is going to be the litmus test. So I know it's going to be a little tough, but just try staring at my face for the next however long this video is going to be. So as I mentioned just a few seconds ago, content creators on YouTube and other platforms are up in arms over receiving these copyright strikes to their channels for using content from TD Jakes Ministries, The Potter's House. Basically his video where he addresses an allegation but doesn't really address an allegation. Yeah, so they're getting their videos taken down completely. And I know that you all have been following the news. If you haven't, please go and Google the news. So this actor in Hollywood by the name of Christian Keys went viral for releasing a blind item. Now, he never named the individual whom he says made very serious unwanted advancements towards him, but just take a listen.
I've been speaking to my brother about making a declaration of my experience. What I experienced with certain powers that be that were moving inappropriately. This person was sexually harassing me for years. He was claiming, that he had multiple young black men on the payroll and they just had to show up when he requested them to be there. And some of them are your heroes. Some of them are people who y'all like, oh yeah, such and such is amazing, and he does this and he does that. Yeah, but he also does this and that. At some point soon, it's gonna have to come out.
So let me just go back to the content creators who've had copyright strikes or had their videos taken down completely. I watched a few of those videos that were taken down. I watched them before they were taken down, and I heard nothing defamatory in them. They were very careful for the ones that I saw that I'm even featuring in this video. I'm not talking about other people who may have gone super far and very disrespectfully or anything like that. But for the ones that I saw nothing. I heard nothing defamatory in the comments that they made. I thought it was pretty straight up, and their critiques were, I thought fair. Also, it's not uncommon for content creators to use copyrighted material. We see it even in my videos. A few weeks ago, I had a video about Shannon Sharp and Chad Ochocinco. I don't own that copyright, but I try to keep the snippets very short. It's not an absolute protection. It's not absolute protection, but it usually falls under fair use and YouTube allows it. Now, there are times when YouTube will give a notification on the back end that you've used some material that is copyrighted, and as a result, your channel, your video will be demonetized. That recently happened when I did the video on Taraji P. Henson talking about unequal pay in Hollywood. That copyright was owned by, or the video that I featured in my video is owned by Gyal King and Sirius FM or whichever platform she's on. I think it's Sirius. And so as a result, my video was demonetized. I got $0, nothing for it. All the money that I earned from that video goes to the copyright holder. I think it's so unfair. But anyway, that's what happens. And YouTube usually will say, hey, you have a chance. You have some copyrighted material. You can remove it from your video and then monetize your channel, monetize your video. And I've done that in the past. But on this one, I didn't do it because it was so crucial and pertinent to the conversation I was having. So I just took that L, I left it alone. But what's happening with these content creators is their entire video is being taken down by YouTube. So they're not even being given an opportunity to remove the copyrighted material. It's just being taken down completely.
I have no idea about any of the rumors and allegations about TD Jakes. A hairstylist now, someone else is coming out a lot of times these things happen. Sometimes you have this cascade of people coming out because it's true. Sometimes you have a cascade of people coming out when it's not true, just to kind of jump on board. At some point in time, the truth is going to come out. So I won't really speak on that. However, what he's doing now, he looks guilty. You're going to notice something, guys. Some of the videos that you've seen on YouTube or Facebook, what have you, you're going to see these videos being taken off. Why? Because what is he doing? Rallying the troops or the legal troops and now filing lawsuits to have these copyright takedowns of these videos. How do I know? Because I got one. Now, me personally, I'll fight it. I have no problem with going ahead and fighting because I've got the time. I understand a little bit how the courts work, unfortunately. And so I don't have a problem with that. I'm going to make him or them to fight it if that's the case. If I get a copyright strike, fine. I've never had one before. It will be my first one. But what you're doing, suing people or threatening to sue people, having these copyright strikes initiated because you don't want them to say anything about you.
Initially, I thought, I don't understand why Bishop Jakes's legal team would even do that. If I'm innocent or, I have nothing to do with this, like, why am I even, I'm going to sue the person on the back end if they've said something defamatory. I'll leave it right there because I'm innocent. I don't have anything to prove. But then I started thinking like, okay, yeah, you say that now as you're sitting here, you're not sitting on millions yet, or potential book deals or guest appearances. You don't have to go in front of a congregation. So, it's easy for you to say what you would do, but you're not in that position. So I always try to be cognizant of that. I doubt that if someone were saying something incredibly flattering about Bishop Jakes in that moment, that his team would have been like, no, that's copyrighted material, take it down. I think it would have been left right up there for all to see. So clearly, Bishop Jakes' team is doing some sort of damage control, but I feel like it's backfiring because a lot of people are saying, well, if you're not guilty, what you taking it down for? But that's another story. In the court of law, you are innocent until proven guilty. But in the court of public opinion, it's a completely different thing. You are guilty until you prove yourself innocent. And sometimes people still don't even believe that you're innocent, even after you've been vindicated. I always say it only takes one person to make a claim and it just gets legs, it just gives it legs. I could say, oh, my boss did something. And it only takes one person to say, I always suspected that person, or I always thought this, and so you just run with a rumor. So I want to be very careful here out of courtesy to all involved. So the purpose of today's video is not to condemn anybody because I don't know the truth of the situation. And right now we just have rumors. We don't even have like a firm, at least at the time of my recording this, we don't even have a firm statement that this person, TD Jakes, did in fact do these things. What we have is a blind item. I don't like blind items. I find them to be cowardly and very childish. To me, you either say the person's name or you don't. Either you are speaking the truth and you can stand behind that truth and you name names, or just be quiet about it. I don't like blind items. To me, it's tantamount to, I know a secret and you have to guess. You basically highlight everything about this person, but then you don't call the name.
Hey guys, it just... morning, it's Saturday at 8 a.m. and it grieves me to say this, but I have to say, my heart won't allow me to not say it. I've been assaulted by one of the greatest, most powerful, most dominant entertainers that this world has seen in a very long time. Probably the second coming of Michael Jackson, just one of the greatest singers of our generation. I don't want to call any names because, it's sad because she has 3 kids, 2 girls and a boy, and she loves silver and came from a girl group, and she's married to someone who's equally as powerful, and she has a super powerful and super loyal fan base that is sweet to her, but will sting anyone who gets out of line. And
bruh, you just named Beyonce. So miss me with this blind item. So like I said, there were a few content creators who were very, to me, very respectful and very direct about dealing with this scenario with TD Jakes. And again, these are rumors. They were very respectful in reporting on the story. And then there, of course, there were others who were just very nasty. And I certainly understand why those videos were taken down, not even demonetized, just like taken down completely. I totally get it. I think fair use needs to evolve with the times, especially now that we're living in the age of social media and things move so rapidly. I think it's very unfair for people to just be getting getting strikes left, right, and center just for using snippets, because they use snippets on the news all the time. Are they asking like ABC News and NBC News and all these other places to take their stuff down? No, they're claiming fair use, and they probably have the resources to fight it, but they know that a lot of these content creators don't have the resources. So it's very easy to go and just send them a cease and desist letter, or tell them pull it down or you'll get sued. And then most people just don't want to go through the hassle, so they'll pull it down entirely. Bishop Jakes followers and fans may not like what I have to say in this video. So my comments today are really going to evolve around Bishop Jakes, myself, and things that I've seen and witnessed over the years that have troubled me. Let me first say that I learned about TD Jakes through my younger brother, who was very early in his Christian walk, but he was very, very in awe of TD Jakes. He respected him. He thought he was a great orator. He loved his books. He loved a lot of the things that he had to say. And I would read a few books and I thought, yeah, he's really good. But there was always something that just, I don't know, I didn't kind of like gravitate towards. I thought, and I can put my finger on it, and it has nothing to do with these allegations or anything. I just always felt like he was very performative. It felt like I was watching an entertainer on stage versus somebody who really just wanted to bring me or somebody else to Christ. That's how I felt. I felt like I was watching somebody who was a great motivational speaker and an entertainer, but not necessarily a pastor or preacher. Everything seemed to be incredibly theatrical with him. And I just kind of wanted somebody who could just kind of like get to the message, and you want people to reprimand you, but give you hope at the same time. I think that's what I was looking for, and I didn't really find that in him. Over the years, I've also seen TD Jakes sort of take on a more worldly viewpoint. And I saw him move away from scripture more and more into things of the world. When dealing with God's word, it is immutable. It is not changing at all. It does not evolve with the times. We all have our personal opinions, but when you're a pastor, I would expect for you to stay very close to the text. Matthew 6:24-26, and yes, I am taking you all to church in the new year. I know a lot of people are going to probably be like, what is this? I'm getting to my point. Matthew 6:24-26 says, no one can serve two masters, for either he will hate the one and love the other, or he will be devoted to one and despise the other. You cannot serve God and mammon. That's money, possessions, fame, power, status, whatever. So piggybacking off of that, I want to say this. Bishop Jakes has allowed himself to be placed in very compromising positions. We all have done things that we regret. I am no exception. We all of us who are watching this right now have done things that we regret, things that were wrong. We've associated with people we should not have, but we are not pastors. We are called to do the right thing, but men and women of God, pastors, anyone who leads a flock, they are held to the highest standard. And there is great responsibility in those positions. And so you don't take those things lightly at all. There are certain spaces that a bishop should not enter and company that he should not keep. The ultimate goal is to lessen, because you can never really eliminate temptation. You cannot. You will always have temptation, but to lessen temptation in your life and to lessen thoughts of impropriety. So when Bishop Jakes attended those parties by P. Diddy and other high-profile celebrities in the entertainment world, many people who support him could argue that, hey, maybe he's just trying to bring some people to God. He's trying to bring some secular folks to God. Okay, then invite them to your church. Invite them to lunch. Meet them in a public setting, at a public forum, a town hall meeting, something. But what you don't do is you don't go into the lion's den. You don't go to a party where there is lasciviousness and questionable things that are happening in the background. Because when you're snapped in that photo, people are going to say, what's he doing there? And to that last point, let me say this. When Jesus walked the earth, he hung around a lot of undesirables, a lot of questionable people, a lot of people who had been compromised. He consorted with all types. So he was hanging around with women of the night, not hanging around with, but he had interaction with thieves. He had interactions with people who were adulterers. He had interaction with tax collectors. And let me quickly say, because when y'all think tax collector, don't think IRS, okay? Don't think IRS would gives you like a deadline to submit your taxes and you get a refund, or even if you owe, you could like do like a payment plan. These tax collectors were like the cartel. They were brutal. They were feared. They were hated. They would tax you more than you were supposed to be taxed. So a man of God, or a man who was God, hanging out with tax collectors was incredibly taboo. He was breaking all kinds of societal norms. But the difference is Jesus wasn't hanging around those folks and consorting. He was converting. He was seeking to save the lost. He was trying to save their lives. And let me make the biggest distinguishing factor here. Jesus was God. T.D. Jakes was a man. Jesus could be tempted, but would not yield to temptation. T.D. Jakes could. So marinate on that. P. Diddy seems to, and I know this started off with Christian Keys, but I'm just going to bring all of this stuff in here as it relates to P. Diddy, because people are again questioning why he even had like a relationship with him or why he was hanging with him. T.D. Jakes, officiated the funeral services for Kim Porter, who was Diddy's ex-girlfriend and the mother of several of his children. And then on the anniversary of her death, they went to his church. So clearly they have some sort of relationship, okay? It could be a very family-oriented relationship, a very friendly relationship, I understand. But given who P. Diddy is and who T.D. Jakes is, clear lines have to be drawn. And guess what? T.D. Jakes is the one who has to draw those lines. I have seen impropriety up close, especially with pastors and politicians. I've seen pastors accepting money from thugs, drug dealers, and they rationalize accepting this dirty money, saying that they're going to use it to do clean things, to fix up the church, to assist unwed mothers, single parents, to help the needy. But you run the risk of being compromised. Your message becomes compromised. Your message becomes diluted. You find yourself avoiding topics because you do not seek to offend. You find yourself avoiding topics about the bad guys in the community because you benefit from them. But if you didn't take the money, you could speak freely. And so pastors have to be very guarded and very smart about who they allow to put them on their payroll. An uncompromised spirit is exceptional currency. So when people know they can't come to you with foolishness, they tread lightly. And I certainly understand the dilemma, because so many of them have large congregations and they have large payrolls to make. You know, a lot of people go into making their productions. And I'm not just talking about Bishop Jakes, I'm talking about all of them. A lot of people's livelihoods are depending on the monies that come into these churches and these organizations. So I get it. Many of these pastors from these mega churches, you know, their livelihood depends on them making people happy, keeping people happy and not ruffling any feathers. What they're failing to understand is that in life, you are bound to piss somebody off. I do videos every single week, and I always, in my mind, have the best intentions when I'm doing these videos. But I know the minute I open up my camera and I turn on my microphone and I start talking, somebody is going to be offended. I'm not going to make everybody happy. I'm not even seeking to make everybody happy. It doesn't matter how nice I am. It doesn't matter how kind I am or how funny I am or how entertaining I am. Somebody is going to be completely pissed off by something I have to say. That's just life. I understand that I'm not going to be for everybody. I can't please everyone, and I'm not trying to. I'm not trying to offend people either, but that just comes with the territory. I wouldn't be true to myself if I were just out here just trying to people please every single person. That's impossible. That's an impossible task. Even God can't please everybody. I was having a conversation with one of my girlfriends the other day, and we were talking about this T.D. Jakes scenario. And she was explaining, like, you know, you have to understand the position that he's in. I said, I do understand the position he's in, but I also understand the position he's allowed himself to be placed in as well. And she said, well, it's always easy to say it when you're on a smaller platform. I said, I get it. It is easy. You have no argument here. You're absolutely right. It's easy for any of us to say anything. We have a saying in the Bahamas, mouth could say anything. Then she followed up and she said, well, were you not afraid of saying the wrong thing on your channel? Like, you know, if subscribers leave, like, how would you feel? I said, free country. You're free to come and go as you please. I said in a previous video on my channel months ago that I will not be held hostage to any subscriber. I'm appreciative and love my subscribers. I love the fact that they have given me their support. I've never not been appreciative of that. But I'm not going to be held hostage to them. I'm not going to just say the things they want me to say. It's my channel, is my viewpoint, and people are free to come and go as they please. A guy, when I said this to him, he said, oh, you sound very arrogant. I said, I sound arrogant? I say, I'm not arrogant, I'm just sure. And that's what I believe. He say, oh yeah, and what if everybody left today or tomorrow? What would you do then? I said, I would do what I've always done. I would create. Because when I was on YouTube for 4 years and only a handful of people knew my name and came to my channel religiously, and the same 8 people who would leave comments over and over and we formed a little friendship, I still put out my best effort, my best work, because I'm a creative. That's what I do. It takes a very strong person to say, listen, this is what I feel convicted in my heart about, and I'm going to speak the truth. I'm going to speak it with kindness. I'm going to speak it with love, but this is what I believe. And if people don't subscribe to that, then you can't make them. But what you shouldn't do is lie to yourself. And in some of these pastors' case, lie to God or don't subscribe to God, the very thing that gave them their platforms to please man. No, I think you should just speak the truth and let the chips fall where they may. There is tremendous freedom in being able to do that. But when you have to please the person who just wrote you a $1 million check, and you have to please the person who just gave you a 5-book deal, and you have to please the person who wants you to come on their big time podcast or their TV show, it gets hard. About a year ago, I was sitting down and I was just thinking about so many things, and I just felt very led to get my pen and paper. And this is what I wrote on the pen and paper. I would rather tell the truth and face the consequences with man than to tell a lie and face the consequences with God. I wrote that. And I tacked that on my fridge. I don't know where it came from. It just came. And as I sit here today and I'm mulling over all these things that are happening now in the industry, the entertainment industry, I'm thinking about that very same thing. I'd rather tell the truth and face the consequences with man than to tell a lie and face the consequences with God. Because the consequences with man are temporary, but the consequences with God are eternal.